All right, welcome back to the Bobbleheads Sports Show, where we provide you with the latest and greatest sports news and analysis. Today, we're going to be going over the Week 18 NFL playoff picture and mapping the paths from the New York Times. So, AJ, why don't you get us started in the NFC East?
Alright, so NFC East is pretty simple, as two of these teams suck and two of them don't. First, you got the Cowboys, whose best possible outcome is winning the division and being the 2 seed. Their worst possible outcome is being the wild card. Boo-hoo. Anyway, so this is their playoff picture. If they win the division. If they somehow manage to be the Cowboys and lose to the Commanders, they have a couple different outcomes here. If they lose and the Vikings win, then the Eagles win. They're the five seed. However, if the Vikings win and the Giants somehow manage to beat the Eagles, Lord help me, please, then they win the division. However, the Cowboys lose and the Lions win and the Eagles win, 5 seed. If the Lions win and the Giants win, 3 seed. 3 seed, they win the division, 3 seed. Cowboys, pretty simple. And then the Eagles, best possible outcome is winning the division. Worst possible outcome, and the current outcome is the number 5 wild card. This one, really simple. Really simple. Eagles win. Cowboys win. 5 seed. Eagles win. Commanders win. 2 seed. Eagles lose. 5 seed. And that's the NFC East for you. Smasher, you wanna
All right.
give us the NFC North?
Ooh, alright, I'll deal with the NFC North. First off, we've got the Lions, who their best possible outcome is the number 2 division champions. The worst is the number 3 division champions. So really, they're going to be division champs no matter what. But, basically, if they win and the Eagles win, they end up as the number 3 seed. If they win and the Giants win and the Cowboys win, they're number 3. And if they win, the Giants win and the Commanders win, they're the number 2 seed. If the Lions lose, they're automatically number 3 seed. Pretty simple. The Packers are 8-8. The best possible outcome is sneaking into the playoffs at the number 6 wild card. The worst possible outcome is being completely out of the playoffs. So they've got, about a 1 in 4 chance of making the playoffs. So, if they win, they're in. But if the Rams win, they're the 7 seed. If the 49ers win, they're the 6 seed. But, if they win, they're in. If they lose, and the Vikings win, they're out. If they lose, and the Lions win, and the Bucks win, and the Falcons win, and the Seahawks win, they're out. If they lose, the Lions win, the Bucks win, the Falcons win, and the Cardinals win, they're the 7 seed wild card. If they lose, the Lions win, the Bucks win, and the Saints win, they're out of the playoffs again. If they lose, the Lions win, the Panthers win, and the Seahawks win, they're back out again. And if they lose, the Lions win, the Panthers win, the Cardinals win, they're the 7 seed, scraping into the wild card. So our next team will be the Minnesota Vikings, who are 7-9, and their best possible outcome is the number 7 seed sneaking in the playoffs as a wild card. They've got about a 15% chance of making the playoffs, so it's not looking great for them. But this is the really complicated one. If the Vikings win and the Bucks win and the Saints win, they're out. If the Vikings win, the Bucks win, the Falcons win, the Packers win, they're out. If the Vikings win, the Bucks win, the Falcons win, the Bears win, and the Seahawks win, they're out. If the Vikings win, the Bucks win, the Falcons win, the Bears win, and the Cardinals win, they scrape in as a 7 seed. If the Vikings win, the Panthers win, the Bears win, and the Seahawks win, they're back out again. If the Vikings win, the Panthers win, the Bears win, and the Cardinals win, they're in. If the Vikings win, the Panthers win, the Packers win, they're out. So a lot of it comes down to either the Seahawks losing or the Cardinals winning.
And that's going to be a continued theme throughout this list. A lot of teams are going to
So
completely depend
basically,
on the
they need the
Cardinals.
Cardinals. And basically, the Vikings, if they lose to the Lions, which is very likely, they are out completely. Who wants to do the NFC South?
I think James should do it.
We'll go James for the NFC South.
All right, so the NFC South, starting off with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Their best possible outcome is winning the division, but being the 4 seed. They could still, as the current leaders of the division, still be out as their worst possible outcome. So pretty simple. If they win, they're the division champs, and if they lose, they're out.
Man,
And
don't
moving on to the
don't
Saints.
get easier than that.
Yep, just need to win. Their worst possible outcome is being out. They're currently out, and their best possible outcome is winning the division and getting the 4 seed. And the way they do that is if they win and the Panthers win, they get the 4 seed and win the division. But if they win, the Bucks win, and the Packers win, they're out. If they win, the Bucks win, the Bears win, and the Cardinals win, they get the 7th seed. And if the Saints win, the Bucks win, the Bears win, and the Seahawks win, they're out. And if the Saints lose, they're out. And the Atlanta Falcons, they can also win the division, and their worst possible outcome is also being out. And all they need to do to win is win and then beat the Panthers. If the Bucks win that game, then they're out. And if the Falcons lose, they're out.
Alright. NFC West. Baden, you want to take this one?
Yeah. All right. So first, we're going to be talking about the Niners, 12-4. They're the 1 seed. Doesn't matter what they do. Now we're going to talk about the Rams, 9-7. Best possible outcome is the 6 seed. The worst possible outcome is the 7 seed, and they're currently the 6 seed. So this one's pretty simple. The Rams win, they're the 6 seed. If the Rams lose and the Bears win, they're the 6 seed. And if the Rams lose and the Packers win, they're the 7 seed. Now we're going to move on to the 8-8 Seattle Seahawks. Their best possible outcome is the 7 seed. Their worst possible outcome is them being out of the playoffs, and they're currently out of the playoffs, so they need this win. If the Seahawks win and the Bears win, they're the 7 seed. If the Seahawks win and the Packers win, they're out. And if the Seahawks lose, they're, of course, out. I hope they lose.
Wow.
I hope they lose.
All right, starting with the AFC now. AJ, go ahead and do the East.
All right, AFC East is also a pretty simple one for the most part. Dolphins, best possible outcome is winning the division and being the 2 seed. Worst possible outcome is being a wild card spot. And again, we've got the world's easiest chart here. The Dolphins win, 2 seed. If they lose, 6 seed. The Bills. The best possible outcome is winning the division again. However, unlike the Dolphins, if they lose, they could be out. So if the Bills win, they win the division, and they get the 2 seed. However, if they lose, and the Steelers win, and the Jaguars win, they're out. If they lose, and the Steelers win, and the Titans win, they're the 7 seed. And then if they lose, and the Ravens win, they make the playoffs no matter what. But if the Jags win, 7 seed. If the Titans win, 6 seed. And then handing the AFC North back over to Smasher.
All right. First off is the Ravens, who have already secured the first round bye. Pretty simple there. Next we've got the Cleveland Browns, who have clinched the number 5 seed, can't move up or down. Next we've got the Steelers, who best possible outcome is the number 6 wild card. Worst possible outcome is being out of the playoffs altogether, which they are right now. So if the Steelers win, and the Jags win, and the Bills win, they're out. If the Steelers win, the Jags win, and the Dolphins win, they're in as a 7 seed. If the Steelers win, the Titans win, and the Bills win, they're the 7 seed. If the Steelers win, the Titans win, and the Dolphins win, they're the 6 seed. If the Steelers lose, and the Jags win, they're out. If the Steelers lose, the Titans win, and the Broncos win, they're in as the 7th seed. If the Steelers lose, the Titans win, and the Raiders win, they are out of the playoffs. Handing over the AFC South to James.
All right, so starting with the Jacksonville Jaguars at 9-7, their best possible outcome is winning the division and getting the 4th seed, and the worst possible outcome is they could be out. And so if they win the division. However, if they lose and the Steelers win, they're out. And then if they lose, the Ravens win. It depends on the Broncos game. If the Broncos win, they're out, and if the Raiders win, they get the 7th seed as a wild card. And then moving on to the Colts, who are also 9-7, their best possible outcome is winning the division and getting the 4th seed, and their worst possible outcome is being out of the playoffs. They're currently the 7th seed wild card, and the way they win the division is winning. The Jaguars win, and then the Bills win, and they get the 7th seed wild card. If the same thing happens, but the Dolphins win, they get the 6th seed. And if they win and the Titans win, they win the division. And if the Colts lose, they're out. Moving on to the Houston Texans, who are also 9-7. Their best possible outcome is winning the division, and the worst possible outcome is being out of the playoffs, and that's their current position. So for them to win the division, they need to win, and then the Titans need to win. However, if the Jaguars win and the Bills win, they get the 7th seed. And if the Dolphins win, they get the 6th seed. If the Texans lose, they are out. And that's it for the scroll up, please.
That's it for that
AFC
division.
South.
That's it for that division. That's it for the
Yes,
AFC South.
And then we move on to the AFC West, which is just Kansas City's the 3 seed. All the other teams stink. Kansas City's a bad division merchant. We know this already. And that's every single thing that could possibly happen. We know this can be a little bit confusing for people, so we thought we would break it down.
We tried to keep
Yeah,
it
and make sure to
as simple as possible for all you guys, and these lists all get much more complicated once you include ties, and we didn't want to go down that rabbit hole, so we tried to keep it as simple as possible for you guys.
if you do want to see the ties for or what could happen if there are tie games for yourself, the link will be in the description of this video. Make sure to check out our social medias, which will also be linked in the description, and that's it for this video.